Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Frank Warren, who is the promoter of Daniel Dubois, has said that Daniel Dubois can beat Anthony Joshua within 12 months only. So I'm going to get into his statement and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So Frank Warren, this is what he said. Daniel Dubois is the best heavyweight prospect I've ever seen at this stage. There are obvious fights out there with Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker, the other two champions, but my man Daniel Dubois is very talented. Look, I don't go crazy about young fighters because there's always a long way to go, but he is by far the best heavyweight at this stage of his career that I have seen in my time in boxing. He has a fantastic jab, real power, he's relaxed, a natural boxer and puncher. Not only did he knock Joshua down in sparring, he absolutely did for Joshua in the gym as he has done with all the names he has sparred with. Do not worry about Joshua running out of opponents. I think Dubois could be ready in 12 months' time. I'd put him in with Parker after 5 more fights. There are always question marks and things to answer, but I have a real talent here, mark my words. We've seen Joshua under pressure from Vladimir Klitschko and survive, but Klitschko turned the heat off and let him off the hook. This kid would not let Joshua off the hook. I have a heavyweight who has Joshua's number, and he just needs more experience, and he'll be ready to fight him. So that was Frank Warren's statement based on Daniel Dubois, and I know a lot of people who don't like Anthony Joshua will agree with exactly what Frank Warren has said. Now, this has sent alarm bells ringing in me, because when Frank Warren first signed Daniel Dubois, I knew that he pulled him out of the amateurs early because he wanted a Joshua on his cards. He didn't like the fact that Eddie Hearn had this big global superstar in Anthony Joshua, and obviously we know Frank Warren doesn't just not like Eddie Hearn, but he has a real hatred for him, and this comes from jealousy because Eddie Hearn has come in and he swept up the game from the times when Frank Warren sat back and let the rest of the world overtake boxing in Britain. But Eddie Hearn has put it back on the map. And I said that when he signed Daniel Dubois, I'm worried because Frank Warren is no young chicken anymore. He's around about 70 years old now, or thereabouts at least anyway. And he doesn't have too long left in the game before he has to give it up. And before he gives it up, he wants one of his guys to outdo Eddie Hearn's #1 talent. And I said, I'm worried that Frank Warren isn't going to give Daniel Dubois the time. But a lot of people said, no, don't worry, he'll progress him naturally, just the same way Eddie Hearn did with Anthony Joshua. But here we are. Frank Warren is saying within 12 months that Daniel Dubois will be knocking on the door of Anthony Joshua asking for a world title fight. Not only that, he's thinking about putting him in there with Parker in only 5 fights' time. Now we know Daniel Dubois is fighting every couple of months now, so you're talking within 7 or 8 months that he's going to be knocking on the door of Joseph Parker. He's not even British champion yet. And this is what I'm saying. I'm worried that he's going to do to Daniel Dubois what was done with Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno was knocking people out left, right and centre within the first rounds or two, and then he stepped up in a world title fight, and because it was almost going the distance, he gassed out and got caught and lost. And this is what I'm worried about with Daniel Dubois. Now, he could well be the best heavyweight that Britain has ever produced one day. We don't know it. And the reason we don't know it is because he's only had a handful of fights. And he's been bowling people over. And let's be honest, most of them were actually cruiserweights. So, I think Frank Warren is in a bit of a rush. He wants Eddie Hearn to be humbled. He wants Eddie Hearn to say, okay, Frank Warren has the best heavyweight in the world right now. Because if Daniel Dubois manages to do what Joshua has done and not only take out Joshua but continue, then big money and big nights over on BT and Box Nation, of course, as well. And Frank Warren will have made Eddie Hearn humbled. And that's exactly what he wants. And this is what I'm worried about, that he's going to throw him in there with competition that he shouldn't be in there with. Now, as an amateur, he did okay, but he never went to the Olympics. He never achieved something great at amateur level. So to start saying within 12 months, I mean, I think maybe Frank Warren is getting a little bit ahead of himself now, because Anthony Joshua is getting a lot of credit, a lot of praise, a lot of hype, and he don't like this at all. So he's got a heavyweight himself, so he wants to say, hey, my man can beat your man. And we're going to find out real soon. And I think in 12 months' time, and I know a lot of AJ haters are going to disagree with this one, and of course you're entitled to your own opinion, but in 12 months' time is too soon for Daniel Dubois. And if he gets in there with Joshua, he may well have knocked down Anthony Joshua in sparring. Joe Joyce has also, and a couple of others have as well. I mean, there's plenty of people who's been not only knocked down, but beaten the crap out of in sparring and knocked out in sparring. Sparring is sparring, it's training. It's different on the live stage. For me, I think Daniel Dubois needs to get a bit more of a mean side to him. He does have the power, but he's just turned 20 years old. I mean, don't throw him into the fire just yet. You need to step up the competition. Not even right now. He shouldn't even be stepping up right now. He should still be getting used to it, to be performing on the live stage as a professional. Just step up a little bit against somebody who should be giving him rounds. And if I was the likes of Joe Joyce or Dave Allen or these kind of like level fighters of like a British level, European level, and if they're offered the chance to fight Daniel Dubois now, I would take it now to get that W over what could be the next best thing in the future. So it's better to get in there with him now than what it will be in 2-3 years' time. So anyway, that's my thoughts anyway. And like I said, I know a lot of AJ haters or whatever is going to say, yeah, Daniel Dubois can take out anybody now. I think you might be getting ahead of yourself. I think that's just my opinion. I mean, he may well be, maybe in 12 months' time, when he's 21 years old, just like Mike Tyson, he could go in there and dominate. Who knows what he could do. But as of right now, I'm worried Frank Warren is going to push him too far, too soon, and potentially hurt Daniel Dubois' career. So that's my thoughts. You let me know yours. Click that thumbs up button, drop yourself a comment, and subscribe.